In the first video, I gave an overview of the environment of SAS Studio. I would like us to dig a little bit deeper into the ODAWS 01 USW2. It's possible that your string might be slightly different, but this is how my string looks like. Let's click on the arrow to the left, and more options are given after that arrow. Let's continue clicking on the arrows. There are folder shortcuts, there are file homes, and under file homes we see this folder sasuser.v94, which means SAS user version 9.4, which is the current version of SAS. So this is a default folder that SAS provides. And as we continue, this will make more sense. Let's pull down the libraries section, and you will see something like this first, and then you're going to click on this arrow, and you're going to be exposed to a set of libraries in maps, such as maps, GFK, SAS data, SAS help. These are default folders that SAS has pre-packaged with SAS Studio. But I'd like to talk about the work library. Let's click on that. Right now, there are no files showing. I try to set up the environment exactly as you will see it on your computer. And so there are no current files, but suffice to say that the work library is a temporary library, is the default active library whenever you're working in SAS Studio or some of the other versions of SAS, like SAS on the desktop, or base SAS as it's mostly referred to. And so remember that the work library, anything you save in there will be lost after you sign out of your SAS Studio session. And so that will be a good segue to the difference between a temporary SAS data set versus a permanent SAS data set. A temporary SAS data set is a SAS data set that has been stored in this work folder, while a permanent SAS data set is one you have stored in a user-defined library. And I'm going to show you how to create your own user-defined library so that your library pops up under My Libraries. Going back to the default libraries in here, one of the popular ones is SAS Help. Let's click on this arrow, and we see a bunch of SAS data sets. I also like to share that when you click on this arrow, you get to see the list of variables in that data set. The SAS extension of a file is .sas7bdat. I repeat, .sas7bdat. It's just the same way as Excel has an extension of .xlsx, and SAS extension is .sas7bdat. Now, let's look at the cars data set. Most of us have a car, or if we don't have one, we are on our way to having one soon. So let's look at cars. So there is a cars data set, and these are the variables: cylinders, drivetrain, through to wheelbase, MSRP, model, make, invoice, horsepower, engine size, among others. We'll come back to this SAS data set at some point. But double clicking this is a pre-look to what pops up when you open a SAS data set. Now, this functionality with a graphic user interface or GUI is really an advantage of SAS Studio because in the base SAS, it takes some time for you to get this view. We have the columns having their section, you can scroll. We also have the data set itself listed. We now have the first 100 rows, and we can go through the next page, the next set of rows, 101 to 200, by clicking on this arrow. And if we want to go to the very last batch of rows, we'll click on last page. And so we know that this observation ends at row number 428. To navigate through the data set, these down arrows allow you to scroll through the data set, and then the accompanying scroll bar to the right allows you to navigate from top to bottom. Then we also have something about property and label types, length, format. So if I click on, let's say, length, or let's do a familiar one, we are all, let's say, the make of the car. In that property value, we see there's a label, there's a name, there's a length, there's a type of character, there's a type, and it's saying CHAR, which is abbreviation for character. There's format, in format. And so already we are starting to see how SAS process things. Notice that the name convention is SAS help, the library, dot cars, the SAS data set. So it's saying that the cars is inside this library. Let's hover over some of these icons. The first one, display the code that creates the current table. The second, it prints table. It refreshes the table. The third, it shows you the table properties, and then it maximizes the view. And then when you see that we now even have more space to deal with some of the things. And if we want to go back to where we were, we just say exit. All right, this is where I'll stop for this demo.